So good to be in the house of the Lord just one more time. Amen. Amen. To all of our visitors who have come to worship with us this morning, we welcome you to Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church, and we just thank you. We hope and pray that you continue to allow God to use you to build up His kingdom. And we just, to my brother who works for me, that's my personal security right there, I tell you. Ebenezer, y'all ain't got to worry about me when I'm at work. He's got my back, I tell you. Amen. God sure is good. Amen. Amen. In the interest of time, I ask that you turn with me to the book of Ruth, chapter 2. The book of Ruth, chapter 2. And when everyone is found it, I ask that you please stand in reverence to the reading of the word. Ruth, chapter 2, beginning at verse 5. Ruth 2, beginning at verse 5. Amen. When everyone is found, would you please say amen. Amen. Now, somebody say, hold up, wait a minute. All right. Amen. Boaz asked the overseer of his harvesters, who does this young woman belong to? The overseer replied, she is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters. She came into the field and has remained there from morning until now, except for a short rest in the shelter. So Boaz said to Ruth, my daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars that the men have filled. At this she bowed down with her face to the ground, and she asked him, why have I found so much favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner? Boaz replied, I've been told all that you've done for your mother-in-law since the death of her husband, since the death of your husband. How you left your father and mother in your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge under. Can you say amen? Amen. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. I want to put a tag on this text this morning and speak to you from the topic, giving you the best that I got. Giving you the best that I got. I know nobody will just start humming and need a baby. Amen. Hopefully, let me hurry up and get y'all there. 8 Grammy Awards, 7 Soul Train Music Awards, 4 American Music Awards, and 1 BET Lifetime Achievement Award are just a few of the accomplishments that Miss Anita Denise Baker would be blessed enough to receive. Born on January 26, 1958 in Toledo, Ohio, who knew that this amazing talent expressed in a sultry, smooth voice would become a musical icon? A music icon that would help pave the way for so many up-and-coming artists who were striving to follow in her footsteps, whether it was singing on an up-tempo track or simply crooning over a calm chorus line. Miss Baker would always seem to have it together as she so gracefully gave of her gift. But life was not always as smooth for her as her voice was. In fact, her life started off kind of rough when at the age of 2, her biological mother abandoned her and forced her to have to move to Michigan to live with foster parents. By the time she was 12 years old, her foster parents had died, and now this forced her to have to be raised by her 16-year-old foster sister. By the time Miss Baker was 16 years of age, she was sneaking out of the house and singing in R&B nightclubs in Detroit, Michigan. It was while she was singing one night that a band member of a local group noticed her and invited her to audition for his band called Chapter 8. He was so impressed by her sound and the passion that would drive her sound that he offered her to be the lead singer in the band. She would eventually go on tours with the band and would headline many shows within the Detroit area, thus making her her a local celebrity. However, in 1979, when the band was up for a record deal with Arista Records in New York, the record company decided to drop the band because they were convinced, watch this, that Anita Baker did not have star potential. They were convinced that she just didn't have what it took to be a big success in the music industry. That the fact that she was not familiar enough with the business, she was not someone that was ready to go to the next level in the music business. In their minds, she was nothing more than a local outsider with hopes of being better than she was. But watch this, upon her return to Detroit, Michigan, she didn't sweat it, she didn't regret it. She began working 2 jobs as a receptionist and a waitress. While working these jobs, she was contacted by a former associate who convinced her not to give up on her dream. He let her know basically that God has something in store for you. It was because of his belief in her gift that moved him to motivate her to not give up on her gift. He would encourage her to release a solo album in 1983 titled The Songstress. It would produce several songs that would go on to be classics. However, her real breakthrough did not come until 1986 when she would release an album by the name of Rapture. The body of work would single-handedly catapult Miss Baker's career into another level with songs like Sweet Love and Caught Up in the Rapture and No One in the World and Same Old Love. She would go on to sing 8 million copies of this record and win 2 million Grammy Awards. 2 Grammy Awards. But her most successful album and most successful single of this day was a song called Giving You the Best That I Got. It was on this album that it was written by Miss Baker. She testifies that no matter what my circumstances, in spite of all I had to go through, in spite of everything folks said about me, I'm determined to give them the best that I got. And it's this attitude, Ebenezer, that will cause a person not to give up when others have given up on them, to not believing in yourself when folks stop believing in you, to keep pressing right on through even in the midst of going through, to know that what the Lord has in store for me today is far greater than what it was yesterday. Yes, my brothers and sisters, Miss Baker had experienced a lot of loss in her life. She lost her biological mother, she lost her foster parents, and she once lost the dream to sing. But once she decided not to give up on her life and not to give up on her gift and not to give up on God's plan for her life, Miss Baker would soon assume the role and position herself exactly where God needed her to position herself. I need you to think about this word position as I preach this sermon, because it's in our text where we find a young lady by the name of Ruth with a similar story who has to position herself in order to receive what God had for us. Let me slow down and tell you a little bit about the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth happens to be one of the greatest love stories of all time. And while it may not have the ethical energy that you might find in Terry McMillan's books or the sexual stimulus that you might find in our sister Zane, it far exceeds any other love story because it takes the fantasy of love at first sight and bridges it together with happily ever after and makes them a reality. It teaches us about real relationships and not real relation slips. Yeah, some of y'all get that a little later. This is not just a phenomenal love story, but it also teaches us how to receive a blessing. Because you do realize, beloved, that God blesses us each and every day when He wakes us up in the morning. He blesses us when He puts clothes on our back. He blesses us when He gives us food on our table. But there are some blessings, Lord help me, that require for us to have to participate in the receiving. There are some blessings that in order to receive them, they just don't fall under grace and mercy. They require planning, they require positioning, and they require preparation. Can somebody say planning? Somebody say positioning. And somebody say preparation. All right, y'all with me now. It's the story of Ruth. It shows us how she planned to be blessed, how she positions herself to be blessed, and how she prepares herself to be blessed. This is a story that teaches us about a young woman who, in spite of her misery, understands how God can take a person's misery and make it their ministry. Notice what happens as we rewind to chapter 1. In chapter 1, we see a man by the name of Elimelech. Elimelech is married to a woman called Naomi. Elimelech and Naomi have 2 sons, and because of a famine in the land of Bethlehem, they're now forced to go to a place called Moab. It is in this place called Moab where the 2 sons meet 2 Moabite women. They meet this woman and they marry this woman. Now I find this interesting, Ebenezer, because it was against the law of